Welcome back, guys, to the Spurgeon Piper. This is Wilson with you. So the past few weeks have been quite busy, the busiest I've been in the past year. Just a mixture of family and seminary and church-related obligations, and so the channel has gone on the back burner. I hope to get back into some regular things, not only just tobacco reviews, but like the Tolkien Dogmatics series. So hopefully that's still coming. Just be patient on that. But I did want to cover Patreon questions, kind of a Q&A that I did bring up on the Patreon account. So just a reminder, when I started the Patreon channel or the Patreon membership, one of the reasons was to prioritize questions and those who are seeking more advice or tips or whatever the case may be. So I wanted to have a video on questions that were asked recently on Patreon and get those answered, and not only for them, but also it can be a benefit for just the rest of those who follow the channel. Before I do, I usually don't introduce new pipes I purchase, but this one's special. Hopefully I get his name right, and apologies, my friend, if I get your name wrong, but G. Spitletti. He has his own YouTube channel. I will link it below. He is a pipe artist, an artisan pipe maker, and I believe a jeweler by trade. He's based in England, London specifically, and I did see him on Instagram, on his Instagram page. I did see him display and showcase this pipe, a part of his antique, I believe he called it his antique series or rustic series or something like that. But one of the pipes of that series was this one I have here, a new church warden that I've been wanting a good church warden. And I've been very picky on getting a church warden because there's just a style like. And this one just looked like a, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, mythology, medieval mythology pipe. You know, that just fit that characteristic. And I just simply love it. He does have a video that details what all went into this pipe, including these 1 carat gold studs that you might be able to catch on the briar on the bowl itself. So anyway, he can go into better detail than I can. All I can say is I'm immensely pleased with this pipe, and I'm currently smoking out of it From Beyond by Cornell and Diehl. Actually I made a review of this for you guys when I was in Kentucky for seminary work. And I did a review, did a video, and I realized that I never turned on my mic. So it went away. I'll try to cover it in the future. So getting on past those things, getting on to the questions from the Patreon supporters. I just do have 3 for this time around, and in the future maybe I'll have more, but I'm going to kind of put them in order of pipe tobacco related, church related, pipe tobacco related, just so you guys can have categorize them for you guys for interest sake. So first one I want to cover is a question by Mike. Mike, I might be pronouncing your name miscorrectly, so apologies. Mike Maldonado. He asks, could you address the honeymoon phase for new pipe smokers? What gets noobs like me to stay in the hobby? What is some advice to keep pipe smokers going? That is a great question, and I try to think back of what kept me going. And number 1 is advice. So like many of you, and I've covered this for myself, it was one of the great helps for me was Mutton Chop Piper, guiding me in pipe tobacco selection, guiding me in how to properly smoke. I think that gets most new pipe smokers. They jump in, especially if they don't have guidance. They jump in, they buy a over-the-counter blend, usually an aromatic. They start smoking it. They don't know how to smoke it. It gets hot. It burns their mouth. What's the point of this? They put it away. Or they go to cigarettes or cigars or nothing, whatever. I think that's usually the big case is you don't have proper guidance. So number 1 is guidance. Find the advice, whether it's me, a Mutton Chop Piper. Ideally, even above those 2, ideally it would be someone in person, someone who's been into it for some time. They can guide you. They can maybe sit with you, show you how you pack your pipe, show you how you light it, and you can watch them just smoke their pipe and see their cadence, how they breathe, all that. That's going to be immensely helpful. And then secondly, it would be patience. I mean, that is always the advice I'm giving new pipe smokers with all this. Patience. I would argue, and maybe cigar smokers would disagree, I would argue that pipe smoking takes more patience. It takes there's more of a process, more steps. It's harder to get into than cigar smoking. There are more variables you have to keep in mind. So one would be first advice, or seek that advice, whether it's on YouTube or social media, what have you. And then secondly, that would be patience with it all. Just be patient. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're going to burn your mouth. Your tongue's going to feel weird. Your tobacco's going to not taste right. But over time, you will get it. So most of all, just be patient. I don't know if there's a honeymoon phase with pipe smoking. The honeymoon phase is really poor. I mean, when you get started, you're gonna have a lot of mistakes. That's the honeymoon phase. It's not a great honeymoon phase. So keep that in mind. And just be patient. Continue to work at it. Ask questions, all that stuff, and eventually you'll nail it down. And all of it will come to you like breathing. It just comes naturally. Going on to another question. This is by Ryan Hall, and someone else asked this or said, I second this, and that was the Varn. Ryan Hall, perhaps no one else would be interested in this topic, but I would be. As a former pastor, how is your church plant going? I'd like to hear about that. Glad you asked, Ryan, and I'm grateful for that question because it is going immensely blessed. The Lord has been incredibly good, and I know it just sounds like a faux humility, but I cannot take any credit for how so far things have been fairly calm seas. I mean, there are some, should we say, pragmatic things that are always in mind, a struggle, but that's things that just church plants have to deal with. Location. Overall, we're stable. We would like our own location. We certainly would. Our own building, absolutely. Right now, we're renting. We're leasing a place. But the cost is low, and the owners are very amicable and are working with us. So it's not pretty, it's not picturesque, but that doesn't matter so much in the sense that it's not a priority. It is the observance of the word and sacraments that is the ultimate priority, and the care of souls. So those things are being addressed well. The people of the congregation are seeking the proper things, and that makes a world of difference, especially in the background I come from. They're not seeking entertainment. They're not seeking pragmatism, whatever works, whatever brings people in the doors. That has been the philosophy, the ministry philosophy of the evangelical world. They are people who seek the word. They're very eager and hungry to spiritually be fed by the word and to know the word, and to be fed by it not only through the preaching, but also, again, through the means of grace of prayer and the Lord's table, communion, and baptism. It's wonderful. They seek to sing rich hymns and psalms. So those things, those tenets, have just been such a care of my soul. It has been incredibly refreshing for me and my family. So it's been over a year at my church. Those tenets have been the hallmark of our church, and they will continue to be. It's in our confession, the Second London Baptist Confession, and it has been enriching. Sure, we're going to go through trials. We are, in some sense, and I say trials loosely, like we struggle with, or we're seeing the effect of, just financial strains. We live in an area where we have those in the military who come and go, and that's something new to me. So we got to get used to that. So we have great families leave, and eventually we'll have great families come. And for a small church, that's really impactful. But again, those are not new. Those are not out of the ordinary. Small churches and church plants deal with those things. So I'm in one aspect, I'm not fazed by them. And of course, our theology plays into this. Historically, the Reformed and Confessional Baptists or Congregational Baptists have a high view of God's sovereignty, and we trust in His providence that God will care for His people. He always have, He always will. Whether we see that by our own eyes or not, we trust in those promises, those covenant promises. So that is that is a comfort we have. So even in the midst of things that cause us to doubt, cause our flesh to question, we have those promises. So all that to say, the church plant's going well. My family personally, and I myself have been blessed. The people have been blessed. They're seeking to make the gospel known to those around them. And we have some things coming up to do that also, just further evangelistic endeavors, things like that, to have a strong fellowship amongst the people and to care for one another. And that has been seen through some issues that have gone on with individuals of the church. So all that to say, it has been immense, and I'm grateful. The prayers the Lord brings about further church plants of strong confessional churches, because we need them greatly. And I'm grateful to see some of these occurring in Texas and abroad, and meeting other brothers who are part of church plants or their church is planting churches. It's wonderful. Love it. Love that. Love to see that continuing to go on. So, last question to cover is by Dan Gomez. Dan says, will you be attending the Texas Pipe Show? And as a beginner, do you think it would be valuable to attend a pipe show like that one? To both of those questions, the answer is shortly, absolutely yes. So I will be attending the Texas Pipe Show. For those of you who don't know and you're in the Texas area, not just Texas, but you're willing to travel to Texas for a pipe show, we do have the annual Texas Pipe Show coming up in early November. I will link Texas Pipe Show website down below so you can check that out. I'll definitely be going. It has been the only pipe show I've been able to go to so far. Hope to go to another one out of state next year. I don't know when that would be, but I do plan on going to one. But I have a lot of other priorities over pipe shows, so I just can't go to them like others can. God bless you if you can. But anyhow, so it's been excellent. It's a new venue this year, but I do definitely encourage you to go if you can. Whether it's Texas Pipe Show or another one, those who host the Texas Pipe Show have done a great job. There's been great venues, excellent tobacco options. Last year was fantastic. I'll tell you one thing that was really interesting about the Texas Pipe Show last year that I loved seeing was seeing more women involved. I saw a lot of women, a lot of ladies come, and not just as wives coming with their husbands who want to smoke a pipe, but actually are interested in pipe smoking or are smoking a pipe as well. That's great to see. But there was a great turnout last year. And it seems like every year just builds on one another. More interest, younger and older pipe smokers alike. So that has been really great. There's always, at the Texas Pipe Show, there's the pipe smoking contest, slow smoke pipe smoking contest, which I, with great pride, came in first last year. And when I say first, I mean I was the first one out. So that was a hit with humility there, but it was really enjoyable. It's great folks that come to it. You make good acquaintances and friends, and you learn and all that good stuff. So if you can go, especially if you're a beginner pipe smoker, definitely go to one if there's nearby, or travel to one. Make it part of your vacation on, getting off some time from work and going to one. You'll really enjoy it. And you'll probably find some tobacco for good prices or pipes for good prices. I got a pipe last year from one it's one of my most valuable pipes and best smoking pipes. So those are always things to keep in mind for them as well. So guys, if you have questions, especially for those of you who are Patreon or YouTube members, you are priority. Feel free to ask. I'll probably have another Q&A in a month or two and make a video out of it as well. But if you're not, I still try to get to your questions when I can. So you feel free to ask. No promises that I can get to them, whether in the comments or email or social media or what have you. But you definitely can feel free to ask, and I'll try to do my best to get to them. Guys, that's all I have this week. I hope you're doing well and you're blessed. We'll talk to you very soon.